Welcome back to Switched to Linux. Well, today we're going to do a brief little distro review, and we want to have a look at BROS. Now, as far as what you actually call this, being the chemist, I kind of want to call it Bromine OS, but apparently it's not that. Maybe it stands for Brazil OS because it's from Brazil. Maybe it's just BROS. I don't know. But this is a Brazilian-based distribution based on Ubuntu and Debian. And one of the things I really like, they just had a blog post just a few weeks ago indicating that Brazil moves towards a dystopian future. There's a lot of things, and they say down here, and this is exactly the type of distro I like talking about, because they generally do not want to take any political stance one way or the other. You know, they're not mad if there's rainbows on stuff or not rainbows on stuff. They don't care if you're a conservative or a progressive. None of that really matters. They care about one element, and that is the freedom of speech. Because once you start restricting freedom of speech and freedom of expression, that happens to be the time when major things like dictatorships can step in place. And of course, Brazil is right on the foot of that. So you can see they have a brief blog post explaining their logic and their rationale. Now, BROS is really designed for some basic use, but particularly for anybody involved in wanting to do some form of creator type work. And so there are a lot of tools in here, maybe a lot more software than some of you may like, as far as just so many software packages some people may not ever use. That presents itself a positive in that you might get a chance to see some extra software packages you didn't know existed. Like I saw they have a really nice video converting tool in there I've never heard of before. So that's why I like these distros that have a lot more pre-installed software. On the downside, if you know you're not going to use that, do you want to install this and then go through the hassle of removing all that stuff, or just pass on to something else? That's a different decision you need to make. So we're going to go ahead and install this guy and have a look. So I tested this out. I did not test out the install yet. I just tested out just the live build. And so let's go ahead and boot this guy up, and we'll actually install it so we can see together what the installer is going to look like. So we can go safe graphics, test memory, or we can try or install. So we're going to go ahead and get first to a screen that's going to ask us if we'd like to install it or just run it live. So when I did my initial testing and poking around on the system, I went ahead and did the live, but we're going to check out what the install looks like. All right, so here we have it. We can try it or we can install it. So let's go ahead and push the install button. And then first thing it's going to do is it's going to walk through our keyboard layout. So US English for both the layout and the variant. That is good for me. We have a normal, or we can do a minimal. Ooh, that raises a fun question. Minimal might be the way to go. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to run the minimal install, and then maybe we will reboot it at the very end and show you what the normal install might look like. We can download updates while installing, and we can install our third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware and additional media formats. So this is the proprietary stuff. So it is now preparing the drivers, and once this goes, we'll see what we get. Of course, while this is working, this is obviously based on Plasma, and I do not know of any other desktop environments that they have by default. So now we can use guided entire disk, guided setup for LVM, or guided setup for LVM with encryption, most likely Lux encryption. And there is a new version of Lux that just dropped, but my guess is this is still using the older version. Both of them are very good. We're not going to worry about encrypting it for this case here, but we're just going to use the LVM. Makes a little bit more efficient use of disk space, or we can do something manual as well. So you can do that, and then you can choose if there's extra disks. So this is a nice thing to see on a distro where it's actually giving us the disk in case you have multiple disks installed, so it doesn't mess anything up. So here's what the disk looks like now, and this is what it's going to look like afterwards. So go ahead and hit the install now. And then this process is going to take a few minutes, and let's see what the next step is. All right, do you want to confirm? Once you push the continue button, things are now being written to the disk, so that will now completely kill the disk. So make sure that don't push that button until you're ready for everything on that drive to be formatted. Next, we're going to check our time zones. United States, New York. That's what I want. And now we need to enter who we are. So let's go ahead and enter our name. We're just going to call this BROS. Bros, man, it's the Bros. Enter my super secret password. It's definitely not 123. Here's your name, and then we can require the password or log in automatically. We'll go ahead and require the password to log in. And this is probably going to be the screen that it's just going to be copying files, and we now just need to wait for the installation to complete. So we'll come back when that is done. All right, so it is now complete. We just need to hit the restart button, and then it's going to boot us back into our newly installed system. And we have landed on our desktop. So this is what we get out of the box. So let's see if we can create a new folder on the desktop. So we can. Folder icons are enabled, but there's none on here. If you remember, Plasma does not have the easy options as things like Cinnamon do to toggle a switch to say, put my home, put my icons, you know, the home, the trash, the stuff like that on your desktop. I have a video about how to do that on Plasma. So let's go ahead and have a brief look at what we got. So remember, this was the more minimal install. So I'm going to go ahead and see what is in here that is different. And there's a few software packages I'm seeing they're missing, but not a whole lot. One of the things that we see out of the box that is interesting to me is one of the only distros I know that gives you LibreWolf on install. So we have LibreWolf and we have Firefox. So two browsers installed. Some people might think that that's a little overkill, but I like having multiple browsers installed, especially having one more of a normie browser and one as a privacy respecting browser. That's always a good approach. We do actually have ChatGPT installed, which of course you have to have an account to use. And I'm not a huge fan of that, and so it would have been nice to have that not show up on the minimal install. And here's Pinta Desktop. I think this is an application that is not installed on the minimal, and but the icon is still remaining on the desktop. And let's see, we have updates are available. We have a notification. I think that was that updates are available. Here's our network status. And then we have some extra hidden icons over here. And inside of our applications menu, like I said, there's a couple more applications in your full install, but not a whole lot. There's still a little bit more in here than I think there would be. But let's have a brief look. We have ImageMagick, Ocular, we have Scanlight, we have BitTorrent, QBitTorrent, we have LibreWolf, Firefox. I guess there are actually not, I guess we do actually have a lot fewer applications. This guy here was, yeah, this one here did not work for me on the live either. I'm not even sure what that application is. Eliza, I don't know what that is. Let me know in the comments. Here's a media player. So this looks like a web-based or file-based media player. You can configure it over here with different options that you can have. So I've not seen that media player either, so new one to have a look at. And then we have, this is the WinFF is the individual application I saw for converting. So you can add a file here. You can convert it to a variety of different file formats here. Here's your various presets, and then your output folder, and then there's some other options in here as well. So if you want to configure the frame rate, the audio, cropping, anything like that. So that's a new application that we can play around with. As far as your Office suite, they're giving you only Office instead of LibreOffice. Not my personal favorite, but you can go ahead and use that. Of course, they do have a cloud-connected account. Really, this does make a good sense to install on something for somebody who's used to coming to used to using Microsoft products because it does have a lot more of a stylistic view to Microsoft Office. It's not perfect, and I did find doing testing as recently as just about 6 months ago or so, I did find it still was not nearly on par with either Microsoft Office or with LibreOffice as far as features and functionality. But it is a really good compromise. It handles your docx files really well. And the other thing that it does have in it that makes quite a bit of sense is they do have a lot of the modern cloud-connected stuff. Not my personal favorite, but that is certainly something that you have. Now, you can use a Nextcloud or OwnCloud install utilizing the application there. They also have their own OnlyOffice cloud. Of course, it's a free OnlyOffice cloud. And then there's CFile, KDrive, LifeWay, or LifeWay. Yeah, there you go. LifeWay. So you have a few different options. So the good thing is this will sync pretty well to cloud infrastructures that are not exclusively the one that they say. And that's what makes it a little bit better of an option. It's a little bit more user-friendly in that respect. Whereas LibreOffice does have an online system you can use with Nextcloud, but it doesn't integrate with the desktop system quite as well. For me personally, I don't care, but if you're looking at deep collaboration and that type of cloud-based work, it does make sense to use only Office in those instances if you don't want to navigate the differences between the two. So that's a neat option. And here's our basic settings and our system utilities. Okay, I do take it back. There are a lot more applications. There are a ton more applications installed on the full build. So this one actually does not have a ton of extra applications as far as what is pre-installed out of the box. Now, it is based on Ubuntu, and so we always want to have a look at what snaps might be installed. None. In fact, snap is not even installed. That's good. Flatpak does appear to be installed, although nothing is installed via Flatpak. I don't even know if any Flatpak sources are here. And I can't remember what the commands are. Can we use sources? No, okay. I couldn't remember if there was a command to see if any FlatHub is set up or configured or whatever else. We do have a couple software installers. Of course, Discover is the default that comes with Plasma, so you can actually search for things over here. So if I wanted to search for Kdenlive, which I will note, Kdenlive is installed by default on the full install feature. You can see we have 85 updates that it would like to install, and let's have a look at what our options are. So we have basically this is coming from the Ubuntu repository as far as there, so I don't know if there's any specific Flatpak setup on this. Let's have a look at our default sources here. Okay, so we have Telegram. Is Telegram on this one? Okay, so Telegram is also installed on the full install. So you can see that they have the PPAs for Telegram, so you can install that. They have PPAs for Mozilla. Is this literally, did Mozilla release a PPA to install Firefox without without Snap? Mozilla's not on board with Snaps, buddies. There you go. And then we have a few other options here. Let's see. And then we can install the Snap backend if we wanted to. So if you do want to use Snaps, you can go ahead and do that. But it's not installed by default. So that is pretty nice. All right. So let's look also at, they do have another software installer. And that is it Muon? Is that how you pronounce this one? The Muon Package Manager. So this one here will have the ability to just click through a variety of different systems here, or if you want, you can just search for something. So if I really do want LibreOffice, my preferred, you can go ahead and search for it. It should find it. Really, it found it on my tests. Why is it not finding it there right now? Let's try that again. LibreOffice. Literally, it found it when I was doing my initial tests on live. Why is it not finding it right now? Let's see if we have a specific spot for Office applications. It's making a liar out of me. I don't know why. I literally checked that over. Maybe just the apt cache is not up to date. I'm willing to bet that that's probably the case. Let's just go ahead and do that real quick. Let's do a sudo apt update and enter our super secret password. That might be the problem here, but I don't know. All right, so we'll grab our package manager again. Let's see. There's Office Suites. Let's do LibreOffice. There you go. That was the problem. We just didn't have the apt cache updated yet. So here's our LibreOffice suite. So if you want to go ahead and install anything like that. So we do have an extra system. This is where you can do full upgrades. You can check for any updates in your system. So if you're not a huge fan of the Discover platform for software, you can use this software installer instead. So we do have a few other options involved in there. As far as our kernel, we are going to have a 6, I think it's 6.2. Let's see. So we have 6.2 kernel. So we do have a latest and greatest on your kernel, and we have a system notification is giving us like there you go. So we can do send an error report to Elisa. Yeah, let's go ahead and send it. All right, yeah, let's leave it closed. All right, so we'll go ahead and do that. So this is what we have. I'm not a huge fan of this dock approach to things. It has a very Mac-y type feel to it. Even the image has a Mac type feel to it. I'm not a huge fan of that personally, but that is absolutely a matter of personal preferences. As far as how the whole system layout works, I think it does look pretty nice. Obviously, Plasma is a nice working system. It's been getting a little bit better. It doesn't feel laggy. It overall is a good build. I would definitely want to reconfigure my panel down here, do a lot of different things with it. So not my first go-to distribution based on all that. The fact I had to deal with getting rid of that ChatGPT crap and maybe add or remove some other software packages as well. I personally might clean up the PPAs because I don't really need Telegram, don't want it. So I'd have to clean up some of that kind of stuff. So for me personally, it's not one I'm going to run anytime soon, but it has a lot of good positive elements for people who do want those functions and features. So let's go ahead and we're going to shut this machine down, and I'm going to boot into the live system. So next time we'll boot this up and show you what all the applications are on the full install. And here we are back on the live. You can see it's asking us to install it over here. And I was correct that one application, Pinta, was one of the applications that is pre-installed. So if you select the minimal install, it leaves the desktop icon on the panel and the software isn't there. So it ends up with a broken file. So that is something there. But let's go ahead and just have a look at the software they give us. Nothing changes here. Kate and Notepad QQ. I'm thinking Notepad QQ looks like it's like a Linuxy version of Notepad++. That's my guess. Of course, Kate is the default Notepad on Plasma. Here's where it really starts to stick out as far as the application. So in the graphics, we have Blender, Darktable, GIMP, GPick, which is a really good color picker. I have not seen this one before, but this, for me, sometimes I have to go in there and use things. I really like this ability to zoom in and see exactly what I'm picking, so I can go ahead and pick the colors and find the various things I'm looking for. So that's actually a nice new application there. But we also have, let's see, that was there. We have Inkscape, we have Krita, we have Pinta, and of course Ocular Scanlight were installed. Which one's Pinta again? I forget which one that one is. Okay, it's like a good old fashioned Microsoft Paint or something, right? No, don't save. Just close. No, okay. Apparently I can't read buttons these days. Close without saving. There you go. That's what I meant to do. All right, as far as our internet, we have KRDC, we have Conversation, and we have the Telegram desktop. So if you do have Telegram, this does have that out of the box and configured. We have Ardor 7. ELISA still does not work. Maybe I'll look it up, or just tell me in the comments, what does that one do? We have Kden Live, and we have XJDO. I'm not sure what XJDO is either. Let's have a look at that. All right, let that boot up. And then Office. The only other application we have is Evolution, which is great, my preferred email client. And nothing different under our settings. And I don't remember seeing anything different under here. We do have a startup disk creator. That's a nice thing. We have time shift. So there's some extra good utilities over here. Right click. Okay, I don't know. I'll have to look up what that one does too. Or you can just let me know in the comments down below. All right. So there is our look at BROS. On the positive side, we get a very nice bit distro. Hey, it's one of the ones that boots and installs and functionally works. That's great, other than that ELISA program. And it does have a lot of new interesting features. If you're using ChatGPT, it might be nice to download a distribution that has that out of the box. If you think it's going to destroy the world like I do, I don't want anything to do with it, but that's a matter of personal preference and maybe some opinion and some study, or just observing, looking at the world from a different perspective. If you're looking for that non-political distribution who comes out and says, hey, we're not here to make political stances. We don't care where you are. We just want everyone to have a space at the table to talk civilly about it. This is your distribution. So if you're looking to jump off of Elementary or something, hey, this looks better than Pantheon anyway. So go ahead and jump on over to here. I bet it's going to work quite a bit better. It is based on Ubuntu and Debian, although it does not force the snaps on you down the road, out of the box. It does have Flatpaks. Apparently, it has the Flatpak application installed. I do not know if it has like FlatHub configured, and I just don't remember the commands off the top of my head to figure that out. But it's at least there and ready to go for you. You don't have to do the extra step of installing it. So the system is nice. It works pretty well. It installs. And it is a very nice distribution out of the box. A lot of neat applications, a lot of neat functions to it. So with that, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have used this. What's your experience been with it? And is this something that you would consider jumping to in the future, or just not your thing? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.